Where on earth is Killzone? Sony's out here giving us remakes of remakes, third-person sad dads, and live service games that nobody asked for. Meanwhile, the first-person shooter crown is just sitting there, empty, like a porta-john at an abandoned job site. Remember Killzone? That one game with all the grit, the glowing goggle fellas, and just enough space tyranny to make your great-grandma nervous. Yeah, they said it was gonna kill Halo, but I think it just sprained its own ankle trying. And since then, Sony has let it die, like an old dog behind a barn. And now we have a PS5 console that is starving for that first-person, first-party exclusive. Killzone deserves a comeback, and I'm gonna tell you why. So I just have way too many feelings about this franchise, and I'm about to emotionally dump them on you like your ex at 2 in the morning. Alright, quick history checkup. Killzone came out in 2004 on the PS2, made by Guerrilla Games, a Dutch studio, which kind of explains why everything in Killzone looks like it's designed by an angry architect. The first game is rough. Nailed the atmosphere though, but everything else like the gameplay and frame rate was rough. Again, this game was hyped to be the Halo killer, but instead it tripped over its own ambitions and then silently left the party. Still, it sold a couple of copies and had a pretty good solid vibe to it. It was gray, industrial, and sweaty like a Metallica concert inside of an old factory. But then came Killzone 2 on the PS3 in 2009, and this is where things finally started to pop off. It looked insane for the time, like, is this real life or did I just lick a PS3 dev kit? Other than the lore and the atmosphere, one of my other favorite things about all of these games is the shooting. It's heavy and chunky. Every gunfight feels like a fist fight with a wrecking ball. The multiplayer was pretty solid from what I can remember. It's been over 10 years since I've played any Killzone online, so I wouldn't say my memory is fresh. It kind of felt like a cross between Battlefield and Halo. Think of those two having a child, and that child chain smoked and wore a gas mask. Then Killzone 3 came into the picture a couple years later and crunk everything up. The story, graphics, and gameplay. Killzone 3 gave us jetpacks, mechs, and beautiful looking snow effects. It was more bombastic, more colorful, and more Michael Bay energy. It was peak gaming. And then Killzone Shadowfall hit the PS4 at launch in 2013. It looks gorgeous, even by today's standards. It does offer a little bit more stealth, a little less weighty gameplay, and it seemed a little bit less moody, but it still felt like a flagship first-person shooter. Sony's first-person shooter. But after that, crickets. Silence. Like your group chat after you ask who's free to hang out. And another crazy fact is Killzone wasn't just flexing on the big consoles. Because after Killzone on the PS2, we got a PSP exclusive called Killzone Liberation, a top-down tactics shooter that was actually kind of awesome, like sneaky good. No one talks about it a whole lot nowadays, but it was basically Killzone meets Metal Gear. And then around 2 months before Shadowfall came out, we got another Killzone, which was Mercenary on the Vita. And I swear to you, that game slaps harder than it has any kind of right to. Kind of like a church grandma with a wooden spoon. It made the Vita feel like a pocket PS3. Tight gunplay, great graphics, and a multiplayer that actually worked. Both of the Killzone games on handhelds were honestly some of the best in the franchise. So what happened? Well, a couple things. First, Guerrilla Games had a dream about robots and dinosaurs, and then immediately thought, forget about space fascists, let's do that. So they made Horizon Zero Dawn, and then proceeded to lock Killzone in the basement next to that sticky Guitar Hero controller and your uncle's Bowflex that no one's touched since 2009. And second, they didn't subscribe to this channel. That was pretty lame. I'm so sorry. Second, first-person shooter games shifted. Call of Duty went mainstream and yearly, Destiny went live service, Battlefield, well, it tried, and poor Killzone was caught in the middle. Not sci-fi enough, not military enough, just this weird, beautiful, angry European shooter with no clear identity in the market. But one of the things that made Killzone awesome was its lore. The Helghast weren't just evil for no reason. They were basically space fascists who got exiled to a toxic planet called Helghan, turned into gas mask wearing psychos, and came back for revenge. Just imagine if Mad Max and 1984 were assigned to partner up on the same project, and that project leaned too heavily into industrial design and war crimes. One thing I loved about the Killzone games was the gunplay. Not necessarily the controls, but the gunplay. And like I said earlier, the weapons felt heavy. They felt tactical. The guns felt like they had real weight to them. Killzone made you work for your kills. None of this twitchy laser tag nonsense. Just meaty, chunky violence. Reason I made this video, other than the fact that I've been replaying all the Killzones recently, is that right now is the perfect time to bring back Killzone. Hey, y'all talking about Killzone? Brother, I was busy back in the day, dropping Helghast like they owed me child support. Back when shooters made you earn it. No battle passes, no kitty cat skins, just you, a controller with Cool Ranch Dorito dust on it, and a dream. And you kids these days, you couldn't handle Killzone 2's recoil. You dislocate your thumbs and then cry on the TikTok about it. Bring it back. Bring Killzone back. I'll sell plasmas. I'll trade my cousin's dirt bike. Just give me them chunky guns and them glowy Google goggle boys. Alright, I'm cool. Y'all just get back to your video. Look at the PS5. Where are the first-person shooters at? Call of Duty is owned by Activision. Bungie is fighting for its life, all while Sony is sitting there counting its third-person action games like they're Infinity Stones. Dude, it is wide open, like a Walmart parking lot at 3 a.m. where there's a raccoon and some random guy in the corner doing karate in his flip-flops. People are starving for a solid, no BS offline and online shooter with sick graphics, crisp controls, and satisfying gunplay. No battle passes, no $20 anime skin nonsense, just a brutal story-driven campaign and a multiplayer that makes you scream at your TV in a good way. Imagine Killzone on a PS5, 4K, 60 frames a second, adaptive triggers making every headshot feel like you just slapped a watermelon with a frying pan. I want a Killzone game where you play as the Helghast. Call it Killzone Sons of Helghan or something, I don't care. Just let it focus on the origins of the Helghan and give me some backstory of what exactly makes them tick. That would be awesome. Ray trace goggles on those Helghast boys so bright it gives you a sunburn. Being able to feel that acid rain tickle around on your hands with that PS5 controller. Dude, it writes itself. Sony, sweetheart, honey bun. Don't sleep on this, please. You've got a whole generation of gamers who grew up blowing up Helghast, and we're still here, loyal and thirsty for some more Helghan action. We don't want another live service shooter that we'll uninstall in 2 weeks. We want Killzone, the real deal. Chunky guns, gritty lore, war crimes in 4K. Bring back Sev, bring back Templar, and Rico, the loud idiot that we all secretly loved. Let us fight on Helghan and Vecta again. Please, give us that industrial nightmare aesthetic back. Or, you know, just even remaster Killzone 2 and 3 and watch the internet lose its collective mind. Sony, you're already printing money with all of these remakes. Why not print a little extra with a Killzone comeback? Let Guerrilla cook. I know they've got more in the tank than robot dinosaurs. So yeah, Killzone's just sitting there like an old trophy on a dusty shelf. Used to mean something, now it's just sitting there waiting on somebody to remember it. It's gritty, it's chunky, and it's beautiful, like a European nightclub at 3 a.m. And if you agree, hit the like button. For some reason, that tells the algorithm that I am not just screaming into the void. And if you want to see me talk about shooters, I made an entire video on Homefront, the PS3 and 360 game that I feel like pretty much everyone forgot about. Click here to check it out.